It's 7 o'clock here in New York City. This is the Tibet Center, Kunchab Tardu Ling, Buddhist Meditation and Study Center, located on Monday nights here in New York City, otherwise in northern New Jersey, South Orange particularly. This is our twice-weekly presentation of the Buddha Dharma, various topics from the stages of the path. If there is anyone for whom you wish us to pray for, someone who has passed away recently, put their names in the chat box now, so then at the end of class, when we do the Sutra, the recollection of the three jewels, people will see their names and remember them. All the prayers we say are on the website. Right up front, click on prayers. The first one we'll start off with prayer for the spreading of the teachings throughout the length and breadth of the West. By the force of the blessings of the non-fallacious three precious gems, and of the truth of our pure selfless wishes, may the precious Buddhist teaching flourish and spread to the expanse of all areas throughout the length and breadth of the West. For all the people living there, together with their near ones, who have engaged in the teachings and have faith and respect for them, may all conditions adverse to their practice of the pure Dharma be dispelled, and an excellent collection of favorable conditions increase like the waxing moon. And especially for those who work on methods to accomplish the flourishing and spreading of the victorious one's teachings, which are the source of benefit and happiness, may they never be oppressed by masses of interference and adverse conditions, and may this spontaneously happen just as we have hoped and wished. The Heart Sutra. Thus have I heard once, the Blessed One was dwelling in the royal domain of the Vulture Peak Mountain, together with a big gathering of great monks and great bodhisattvas. At that time, the Blessed One entered the Samadhi, which examines the Dharmas, called profound illumination. And at the same time, noble Avalokiteshvara, the Bodhisattva Mahasattva, looking at the profound practice of transcendent knowledge, saw the five skandhas and their natural emptiness. Then, through the inspiration of the Buddha, Venerable Shariputra said to Avalokiteshvara, "How should those noble ones learn who wish to follow the profound practice of transcendent knowledge?" And Avalokiteshvara answered, "Venerable Shariputra, whoever wishes to follow the profound practice of transcendent knowledge should look at it like this, seeing the five skandhas and their natural emptiness. Form is empty, emptiness itself is form. Emptiness is not separate from form, form is not separate from emptiness. In the same way, feeling, discriminating awareness, compositional factors, and consciousness are empty. Thus, all the dharmas are empty and have no characteristics. They are unborn and unceasing. They are not impure or pure. They neither decrease nor increase. Therefore, since there is emptiness, there is no form, no feeling, no discriminating awareness, no compositional factors, no consciousness, no eye, no ear, no nose, no tongue, no body, no mind, no appearance, no sound, no smell, no taste, no sensation, no objects of mind, no quality of sight, no quality of hearing, no quality of smelling, no quality of tasting, no quality of sensing, no quality of thought, no quality of mind consciousness. There are no nidanas from ignorance to old age and death, nor their wearing out. There is no suffering, no cause of suffering, no ending of suffering, and no path, no wisdom, no attainment, no non-attainment. Therefore, since there is no attainment, the bodhisattvas abide by means of transcendent knowledge, and since there is no obscurity of mind, they have no fear, they transcend falsity and pass beyond the bounds of sorrow. All the Buddhas who dwell in the past, present, and future, by means of transcendent knowledge, fully and clearly awaken to unsurpassed, true, complete enlightenment. Therefore, the mantra of transcendent knowledge, the mantra of deep insight, the unsurpassed mantra, the unequaled mantra, the mantra which calms all suffering should be known as truth, for there is no deception. In transcendent knowledge, the mantra is proclaimed, Tayata Om Gate Gate Paragate Parasam Gate Bodhisoha. O Shariputra, this is how a bodhisattva, mahasattva, should learn profound transcendent knowledge. Then the Blessed One arose from that samadhi and praised the bodhisattva, mahasattva Avalokiteshvara, saying, Good, good, O son of noble family. Profound, transcendent knowledge should be practiced, just as you have taught, and the Tathagatas will rejoice. When the Blessed One had said this, Shariputra and Avalokiteshvara, that whole gathering in the world with its gods, humans, asuras, and Gandharvas, their hearts full of joy, praised the words of the Blessed One. Refuge in Bodhisattva vow, which is under the title Generating Bodhicitta. We say these verses 3 times. With the wish to free all beings, I shall always go for refuge to the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha until I reach full enlightenment. Inspired by wisdom and compassion, today in the Buddha's presence, I generate the mind intent on full awakening for the benefit of all sentient beings. As long as space endures, as long as sentient beings remain, until then may I too remain to dispel the miseries of the world. With the wish to free all beings, I shall always go for refuge to the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha until I reach full enlightenment. Inspired by wisdom and compassion, today in the Buddha's presence, I generate the mind intent on full awakening for the benefit of all sentient beings. As long as space endures, as long as sentient beings remain, until then may I too remain to dispel the miseries of the world. With the wish to free all beings, I shall always go for refuge to the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha until I reach full enlightenment. Inspired by wisdom and compassion, today in the Buddha's presence, I generate the mind intent on full awakening for the benefit of all sentient beings. As long as space endures, as long as sentient beings remain, until then may I too remain to dispel the miseries of the world. So as is our custom, we do one mala round of Om Mani Padme Hum, the mantra of Avalokiteshvara, who personifies great compassion. Om Mani Padme Hum, Om Mani Padme Hum, Om Mani Padme Hum, Om Mani Padme Hum. Om Mani Padme Hum. So tonight, tonight we'll be entertaining the ideas of Zapatral Rinpoche, who was combination, lived the life of a vagabond. Enlightened Vagabonds, the title of a book of stories about him. Lived early 1800s, 1887, something like that. So it was more or less close to our era. He was very big from the Nyingma school, but was one of the advocates of the Rime, non-sectarian movement. Mipam Rinpoche, him, a few others. Very interesting guy, very earthy. To get an idea of his character, I told this story before, but here's a story written nicely about he refused all offerings. He would never take offerings, and he was very famous. So this particular vignette says, a robber sets his sights on an offering of silver. Near the monastery of Zamtang, Patrol was sitting on a grassy mound, having just finished teachings The Way of the Bodhisattva. That was his favorite book. He always, people think he probably was Shantideva, but we don't know. To a large crowd of people. An old man who had attended the teachings came up to him and offered him a large piece of silver called horse hoof silver. Who knows? Because it is usually cast in the shape of a hoof. So a big rock of silver. Other than that silver ingot, how do you pronounce that? Ingot. No, silver ingot. Yeah, that's it. The old man had few possessions, but he thought it would be a meritorious deed to offer his ingot to Patrul, toward whom he felt deep faith. Patrul, as it was his custom, refused to accept the offering, but the old man was persistent, laying the silver ingot at his feet and briskly walking away. Soon after, Patrul got up and left, leaving behind him all the offerings that people made to him, including the piece of silver, the silver ingot. A thief learned that Patrul had been offered a silver ingot and followed him, intending to steal it. Patrul often traveled alone and spent his nights sleeping out under the stars. The robber approached the sleeping Patrul under cover of darkness and began going through his scanty belongings, a small cloth bag and a clay teapot. Not finding the riches he was looking for, the thief started feeling around in the clothing that Patrul was wearing. Suddenly, awakened by the thief's hand, Patrul cried out, "Ka-ho! What are you doing rummaging around in my clothes?" No comment needed. Startled, the thief blurted, "Someone gave you a silver ingot. I must have it. Give it to me." "Ho-ho!" Patrul yelled again. "Look what a dismal life you lead, running here and there like a fool. Did you come all the way just for a piece of silver? How pathetic." Ooh. "Now listen up." This is Patrul still talking. "Go quickly back the way you came. By dawn, you'll reach the grassy mound where I was teaching. That's where you'll find the silver ingot." The thief was skeptical, but he had searched the master's belongings thoroughly enough to know that Patrul was not in possession of a silver ingot. It seemed unlikely that the coveted offering would still be there, but nonetheless, the thief retraced his steps all the way to the grassy mound. Searching around, he finally found the silver ingot that Patrul had simply abandoned there. The robber, who's no longer young and was beginning to worry about his way of life, began a loud lament. "Hadzi!" That's, I guess, what they say in Tibet when they lament. They say Hadzi. Who knows? "This Patrul is an authentic master, free from all attachment. By trying to steal things from him, I've created some very bad karma. Tormented by remorse." He retraced his steps again, looking for Patrul. When the thief found him again, Patrul cried, "Ka-ho, you're back, still running around here like a fool? What do you want this time?" He was very blunt. Overcome, the thief broke into tears. "I'm not here to steal anything. I found the ingot. I really regret having acted so badly towards you, a true spiritual master. To think that I was ready to rob you of the little you have. I beg you forgive me. Please bless me and accept me as your disciple." Patrul said, "Don't bother confessing or begging for my forgiveness. Just practice generosity from now on and invoke the 3 jewels. That'll be enough." Later, when some people heard about what the thief had done to Patrul, they tracked him down and beat up the thief. When Patrul learned about this, he sharply rebuked the local people. "When you beat that man, you're beating me, so leave him alone." Strange guy. There's other stories, but we won't. Well, maybe we'll do some now. Well, first we'll hear from him, and then maybe we'll go back to some of the stories about him. Very blunt, very, he went to a hermit's place one time and made him aggravated. What are you meditating on? Patience. Oh, leave me alone. Oh, what happened to your patience? So this is, he, besides being like, he looked like a beggar, had nothing, but a very deep scholar. He used to hang out with these other two well-known lamas. They was taking class, and he was very poor, and they were both wealthy. And so they took classes from this master every day, went back to their place, and they gave him their leftovers. And then after eating their leftovers, he would go to sleep. He wouldn't be studying or anything. So the same trick they did with Shantideva. They said, look, this guy's just eating and sleeping. So let's ask him what we learned today. So, let's see if he remembered. And so they said, oh, before you fall asleep, why don't you tell us about what we heard today? And he repeated it to the word, and they were shocked. The guy's obviously a genius besides us. So same story with Shantideva. They thought he was an idiot, and then he recites it. So he's talking here about something they call chud practice, and this is very interesting. Let me see. I had it more here. This is talking about preliminaries to the different practices. In chod practice, his main theme is you're supposed to go to a scary place, and you're supposed to ring the drum, the damaru drum, blah, 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 chant and everything. A cemetery, the old-fashioned cemeteries where animals are eating whatever's around there and stuff. And to bring in great fear. Everything is in here. Forget it. And he keeps to that theme all the time. And we should do that too, because it's very useful. So we'll start with just his story. Atisha and Dhamtapa were talking. And Dhamtapa, he's an Nyingma guy. He knows more about the Yellow Hat sect than was asking, what's the ultimate teaching? So of all the teaching, the ultimate is emptiness, of which compassion is the very essence. They always make that connection that doesn't seem true. You have method over here, wisdom over here, emptiness is. They're linked when they start talking. It's a very powerful medicine, a panacea which can cure every disease in the world. And just like that, very powerful medicine, realization of the truth of emptiness, the nature of reality, is the remedy for all the different negative emotions. Why is it then, Dhamtramba went on, that so many people who claim to have realized emptiness have no less attachment and hatred? How come, if this is supposed to be the case? And he said, because their realization is only words. Atisha replied, had they really grasped the true meaning of emptiness, their thoughts, words, and deeds would be as soft as stepping on cotton wool, or as sampa soup laced with butter. And we all know what that tastes like. These little things don't get to me. The Master Aryadeva said that even to wonder whether or not things were empty by nature would make samsara fall apart. They say that today in all the lectures. You may not understand that, but if you have a slight doubt that maybe there's something here, and maybe the way you see the world maybe isn't the way it is, that crack starts your progress towards looking into what reality really is. How can every element of the path be included within the realization of emptiness? Dhamtapa said, yeah, we have compassion here, we have patience here, we have this. How come everything is emptiness? All the elements of the path are contained in the 6 transcendent perfections, 6 paramitas or whatever. Now, if you truly realize emptiness, you become free from attachment. As you feel no craving, grasping, or desire for anything within or without, you always have transcendent generosity. You are a different animal now. You understood emptiness directly, not conceptually, directly. So all of a sudden, no craving, no grasping. Of course you're naturally generous. You don't care. And Zapatro's life bears that out. Being free from grasping and attachment, you are never defiled by negative actions. So you always have transcendent discipline. Without any concepts of I and mine, you have no anger, so you always have transcendent patience. You're not protecting any fort. You don't care. You're beyond all that. Of course you have patience. You're nothing to be mad about. Your mind made truly joyful by the realization of emptiness, you always have transcendent diligence. Joy through effort is another way Matthew Ricard calls it. Diligence, it's a character trait we should develop. The work itself is joyful. A good artist, it's that way. They get into it. They're happy. They don't eat, a composer, you're painting or something. Well, when you're building some. If you're on in the groove, that's the word. Yeah. Not the rut, the groove. Being free from distraction, which comes from grasping at things as solid, you always have transcendent concentration. Grasping at things as solid. First you crave, then you grasp. You think this and that are separate. Me and the world are separate. Not realizing that we're co-creating the whole thing as we're going along. So they say. I don't realize that, but they say that. As you do not conceptualize anything whatsoever in terms of subject, object, and action, you always have transcendent wisdom. So you see emptiness directly. You're a made man. You're different. You're a different person. You're an arhat. Do those who have realized the truth become Buddhists simply through the view of emptiness and meditation? Ram Tompa asked. And I would say, yeah, why not? What else? Please, don't give me more homework. Of all that we perceive as forms and sound, there is nothing that does not arise from the mind. Here we go. This is tricky, but it's very helpful. To realize that the mind is awareness indivisible from emptiness is the view. Keeping this realization in mind, awareness, key word. Not you're sitting there and all the thoughts flying around. I'm going to go downtown tomorrow. I'm sick and tired of that person. He's always blah, 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 blah. The train of yakking that goes on. The awareness is underneath that. The fact that those things, you're able to see them, shows you have awareness. So the mind isn't that level. It's everyone's level, basically. But at that level, we're not expressing our true nature. Our true nature is more and more and more subtle. We have layers of mind underneath that. And when they use a word to represent that name, sometimes awareness. Something like that. Ground of awareness. Rikpa sometimes, but that's not an English word. So they separate mind from awareness. And the metaphor they use to help you is the waves and the ocean are one, but they're not. The waves like this, and underneath the ocean is very quiet. But are the waves separate from the ocean? No. Are these chatterbox thoughts separate from your mind? No. And they'll say, no, they come up out of the primal emptiness. So, clear light mind, expressing itself in that way. But at that level, it's confusing. You're not getting the answer or anything. You're not getting to reality. That's one of his themes. And he bangs it in your head constantly. To realize the mind is awareness, indivisible from emptiness is the view. The mind itself is empty, so that awareness is. Keeping this realization in mind at all times and never being distracted from it is meditation. So if you could always understand, this is like a dream, I'm on the subway, it's like a dream, hard to do, hallucination. But there's that hard reality element is false. It's something we're creating. They say. I'm like, I charge them if I'm creating it, But anyway, to practice the two accumulations as a magical illusion from within that state is action. That's the right action. So practicing the two accumulations, merit and wisdom, as a magical illusion from which within that state, is action. If you make a living experience of this practice, it will continue in your dreams. You see things as illusory, not as hard. And then if you really look even logically, these things seem so solid, but I know damn well everything's impermanent. It's not going to be here a few minutes later or maybe weeks later, but it's not there forever. This we could figure out, but we don't bring it to mind to help us out, and that's a problem. If it comes in the dream state, it will come at the moment of death. So if you can bring up this stuff when you're dreaming, the moment of death, you'll glide right through. And if it comes at the moment of death, it will come in the intermediate state, if it is between lives. And if it is present in the intermediate state, you'll be certain of attaining supreme accomplishment, being born very high, or Buddhahood itself, they claim. So this is a big deal. This is a lot. The 84,000 doors to the Dharma that the conqueror taught are thus all skillful means to cause the bodhicitta, emptiness of which compassion is the very essence, to arise in us. Now, when they define bodhicitta, there's two ways, relative and ultimate. Relative bodhicitta is the wish to become Buddha, sake of sentient beings, etc., and so forth. Matthew Ricard was a good student and a very good practitioner. So you shouldn't think of Buddhahood so much in terms of the goal, like the big mountain up there that you got to climb. It's something like that, but that doesn't motivate you. Think about the path to Buddhahood as getting rid of your anger, your suspicion, your jealousy, all the bad things that weigh you down, and your ignorance about the way things really are. Think that way, you're more motivated. So that's his little tip. There's a book he has out now, which I got a hold of. It's not new, it's translated from the French. Experiencing Wisdom or Seeking Wisdom, something like. It's three of his friends that got together over the years. One's a doctor, psychiatrist doctor. One is like a social worker type and Zen student, and him. One is severely handicapped, brought up in an institution and finally got his way out of it. Very interesting dialogue between them. They're all very much together. So it's like Buddhism without Buddhism. It's like secular ethics that we're talking about. So we'll maybe read from that one. Nikki will be back, by the way. I told everybody Wednesday, so probably next Monday he'll be here for a while. A salud. Tsering, the Tibetans say tsering when you sneeze, means long life. Not bad. A gesund. That's bad. Vablatz. My father used to say vablatz, so whatever that means, break, something. A German word. He said the Germans say vablatz when somebody sneezes. Must be a dialect. Gesundheit, we all know that. Who knows? So without bodhicitta, the ultimate bodhicitta, Chungla told me, on the D train between 34th Street and West 4th, ultimate bodhicitta is not bodhicitta, it's emptiness. All right? Okay. Now, of course I say, yeah. And then he dismissed me. But ultimate bodhicitta just refers to emptiness. A mind that has bodhicitta, soaked, he used to use the term, or infused, soaked with bodhicitta, meditates. That attainment brings you to Buddhahood. A normal person meditating on emptiness without bodhicitta becomes free of samsara. They become an arhat. They're great saints and everything, but they're not omniscient. They don't have all the powers of a Buddha. So when they toss around the term ultimate bodhicitta, think emptiness combined with. So that's the point. He said, without bodhicitta, teachings on the view and meditation, however profound they may seem, will be of no use at all for attaining perfect Buddhahood. Tantric practices like the generational phase, the perfection phase, and so on, completion, generation, the two phases, practice within the context of bodhicitta lead to complete Buddhahood in one lifetime. But without bodhicitta, they are no different from the methods of the Tirthakas, the non-Buddhists. Tirthakas also have many practice involving meditation on deities, reciting mantras, and working with the channels and energies. They too behave in accordance with the principle of cause and effect. But it is solely because they do not take refuge or arouse bodhicitta that they are unable to achieve liberation from the realms of samsara. That's a big point. So every tantric initiation you ever take starts with the bodhisattva vow. And they give you, you take the vow and promise to practice bodhicitta. Otherwise, and Chungla says this bluntly, meant nothing, just reciting, nothing, without bodhicitta, nothing. So that's that. So whenever everyone's going, yeah, I took this initiation, I did this and that, So you can say, "Do you have done anything?" Of course they'll lie, but that's all right. So Garak Kamchunk said, he's quoting, "It's no use taking all the vows from those of refuge up to the tantric samayas unless you turn your mind away from the things of this world." Easily said, hard to do. Hey, I got to make a living is my always response. The things of this world deep down, that's your final refuge? No. Capitalism, consumerism, what? Psychological materialism, what do they call it now? Secondly, it's no use constantly preaching the Dharma to others unless you can pacify your own pride. Ooh, not your own mind, your own pride. Nice shot, this guy. There's no use making progress if you relegate the refuge precepts to the last place. That should be a start. I don't know, and I'm relying on you, Buddha, for advice. That's it. Otherwise, you think you know everything. So you have to understand, it's not dumb humility. It's like acknowledging somebody smarter than you for once in your life. It's a very big deal. Because you would always say, listen, am I immortal? Am I omniscient? No, I'm not. Well, he is, so they say. Let's find out if that's a lot of malarkey or true. So here it is. It's no use practicing day and night unless you combine this with bodhicitta. So that's his friend Garak Gomchung, whoever he was. So Zapachul says again, unless you first create the proper foundations with the refuge and bodhicitta, however intensely you might seem to be studying, reflecting, and meditating, it will all be no more use than building a 9-story mansion on a frozen lake in winter and painting frescoes on its plastered walls. Ultimately, it makes no sense at all. That has to be an internal realization. It can't be the externals. Yes, every day I do 2 hours of this. I make water offerings. I run around the temple 4,000 times or whatever. What's going on in the mind? Are you practicing so that everybody knows you've been, I took this initiation. You coming? You want to go too? We'll all go. Yeah, in one way, you can't get away from that because that's where we are now. But underneath, there's more than that. And these things will actually help you. Never undervalue, Patrol continues, never undervalue the refuge and bodhicitta practices, assuming that they are inferior just for beginners. Very important. It's a unity. You can't take a certain part away. The whole building falls apart. So refuge, bodhicitta, the basic stuff is very important throughout the whole path. Complete them in full, within the framework of preparation, main practice, and conclusion that applies to any path. It is most important for everyone, good or bad, high or low, to concentrate their sincerest efforts on these practices. In the particular case of lamas and monks who take donations from the faithful, he hates that, who receive funds on behalf of the dead, or who do ceremonies to guide the dead, it is absolutely indispensable that they have sincere bodhicitta. And in Tibet, I guess they made their living doing this. So-and-so died, call Harry, and he'll do this. Without it, none of their rituals and purification will be of the slightest use to either the living or the dead. For others, they might appear to be helping, but deep down, that help will always be mixed with selfish motives. For themselves, they will be defiled by accepting those offerings and will engender endless faults that can only lead them to lower realms in their next life. For the practitioner who does the performance is not sincere, it's poison, because you're deceiving people. Don't cheat. He said, they cheat people. He would be saying about certain lamas in Tibet. Even if someone who can fly like a bird, travel under the earth like a mouse, who would want to do that? Elon Musk, that's it. Pass through rocks unimpeded, leave imprints of his hands and feet on rocks, someone who has unlimited clairvoyance and can perform all kinds of miracles. If such a person has no bodhicitta, he can only be a tirtika or possessed by some powerful demon, in other words, a non-believer. He might at first, or she might at first, let's be fair here, attract some naive innocents who will be impressed and bring offerings. But in the long run, he will only bring ruin upon himself and others. On the other hand, the person who possesses true bodhicitta, even without having any other quality, will benefit whoever comes into contact with him or her. So that's natural. You have bodhicitta, you're benefiting people just by them being around you. It's an underlying thing. They pacifies things. It's sincere, uncontrived. Right now we have to contrive it. Yes, it's a good idea to help others. What am I doing? Why don't I help? All that. But eventually, that constant repetition turns into reality. You fake it till you make it, or whatever the slang expression is. Something like that. You never know where there might be a bodhisattva. Mar-a-Lago, maybe? Who knows? It is said that in many bodhisattvas using the skillful methods are to be found even among slaughterers or of animals and prostitutes. It is difficult to tell whether someone has bodhicitta or not. I've heard this, and we've all heard this a lot from all the talks we get. The Buddha said, apart from myself and those like me, in other words, other Buddhas, no one can judge another person. Shut up. That's it. What time do we have? Oh, good. Thank you. So just consider anyone who rouses bodhicitta in you as being a real Buddha, whether a deity, teacher, spiritual companion, or anyone else. Whenever you feel that you have acquired certain qualities as signs of progress on the path, whatever they may be, realization of the natural state, clairvoyance, concentration, visions of the Yidam, and so on, the Yidam as your deity, you can be certain that they really are true qualities if, as a result, the love and compassion of bodhicitta steadily continues to increase. That's your Brahma, that's your criteria. You suddenly feel spontaneously, uncontrived, more warmth and affection towards others. And more patience too. The bodhisattva has to be patient. That's the marker. Nobody's going to sit there and say, all right, you're in level 5 now, very good, go out there. Not academia. If the effect of such experience is only to decrease the love and compassion of bodhicitta, you can be equally sure that whatever looks like a sign of success on the path is in fact a demonic obstacle or an indication that you are following the wrong path. In particular, the authentic realization of the natural state cannot be accompanied by extraordinary faith and pure perception towards those spiritually more mature than yourself, and extraordinary love and compassion for those who are less so. So, more and more devotion to people you perceive as being very good teachers and more and more admiration and more compassion towards those who are these poor people. They don't have any place, they don't study, they don't do this. What's in the world? What's their future? How do they fall asleep at night? All these things. You put them in your mind. The Bodhisattva does that, putting all these people in their mind. Someone on the street, they talk later on when they're lying in bed, that poor person, what can I do? I don't know. Well, I'll do my best in the future. But accompanying your mind with those kind of thoughts really trains you and straightens you out. It makes you more spiritually advanced, even relieves pain. And His Dalai Lama, His Holiness Dalai Lama, His Daliness? His friendliness, I always call it. His friendliness. So that terrible, when he had a gallbladder attack and had to be operated on, he was driven through these terrible areas, through Bihar, poor part of India, and he saw, in great, great pain, through the window of the car, old guys with nobody to help them, children running around ragged, no clothes, poor, feeble people, nothing to eat, no one caring for them. And he said, my mind went there and the pain decreased. All right, that's his mind. But it does things like that. When you start focusing other than on your own little personal backyard, but going out to others, it does help. It decreases. And over time, it gets more and more powerful because it's in sync with reality. All of humanity is a unity. It's not a unity and we think this and that and that. So we're in sync with the idea of oneness or wholeness rather than oneness, because when you say one, you're implying two. So that's already so it helps, increasing it helps you. So the smart, the wise, selfish person. The peerless Dakpo Rinpoche once asked Jetson Miller Repo, when will I be ready to guide others? This is the Dakpo Rinpoche. I wonder if it's the one that's around today in France. I don't know. He's not doing what Marianne is in Switzerland now, and goes back to his house. She's one of the ones trusted with staying by his bedside at night. helping get up, turning him or whatever. So that's pretty good for a Tibet Center graduate. Our graduates have gone on to succeed in the Dharma. They got her there because she could translate French and English from Tibetan. So in Switzerland, they have both. When will I be ready to guide others? One day, the Jetson replied, you will have an extraordinary clear vision of the nature of your mind, quite different from the one you have now, and free from any kind of doubt. In other words, you'll think of your mind differently than you think of it now. This goes for all of us, otherwise they wouldn't mention it. At that time, in a way that is not at all ordinary, you will perceive me, your old father, as a real Buddha, and you will inevitably feel natural love and compassion for all beings. That's when you should start to teach. Not when you get certified by this or that group, Study, reflect, and meditate on the Dharma, therefore, without disassociating one from the other, on the firm basis of the love and compassion of bodhicitta. So teach on the firm basis of the love and compassion of bodhicitta, and not distinguishing this one is smarter than that, that's this thing. Without first eliminating doubts through study, you will never be able to practice. It is said, to meditate without having studied is like climbing a rock when you have no arms. So this whole idea of, just let your mind sit, doesn't work. A lot of people try that. Drugs can do that for you. You want to sit your mind in a puddle, go right ahead. But you don't go anywhere. You got to use the noodle. Eliminating doubts through study does not mean that you have to know all the vast and innumerable subjects that are there to be known. In this degenerate era, yes, that would never be possible within a short lifetime. This is not a time when it's easy to study. But going against all the obstacles, just to pick up a book and read, it gives you a lot of merit than if you were in some pure land and everything was coming from the walls, all the teachings there. It's very hard to do anything positive in this world. It really is. Whenever you try to do something good, there's an obstacle. I mean, you can bank on that. You can buy futures on that. We had to turn this into a money-making operation.
Isn't that also like a way of purifying, in
That's what one of his themes is. When things are bad, that's good. He has a poem like that. Milarepa said that, all I have here is to handle these demons and obstacles in me, and that's how I purify myself. They all say that at the bottom. You can't make that your lead announcement when you're trying to convince someone to practice Buddhism. They'll run out the door. I mean, I would. Hell with this. What do I need this? My mother tells me this. I don't need this. But yes, that's true. You're either using up or burning up karma. Using up good karma when you enjoy yourself and spend money on what you have to do. And whenever you're suffering, you're burning karma. And you could say, when I have a headache, all beings' headaches should come to me. Immediately, you transform that headache into a very heavy practice. Doesn't feel so at the time. It still hurts, God damn it. But, it's a good imprint for your mind. But you're absolutely correct. That's it. That's the transcendent balance sheet. You're good with the bad. This is it. Let's see. So what it does mean, whatever teaching you're going to put into practice, you should know exactly how to do from the beginning to end without a single mistake. So scope it out first. Don't get excited. Oh, that sounds great. I'm going to do that. I go home and meditate. Scope it out. Why? Is this necessary? Is it possible? How do I do it? Can I do it? All that is important. Then it makes the practice move swiftly. There's no doubts in your mind that are going to come up from the subconscious. What am I doing here? Why don't we eat something? Stuff like that. You scoped it out and you're very clear. So any hesitation you might have, you should clear away by reflecting on these teachings. When a teacher was at Nyai Teng, Nachong Tumpa of Shang, Kyung Tumpa and Laksong Tumpa, the Tumpa gang, asked him to teach them about different systems of logic. A teacher replied, the non-Buddhist Tirthakas and the Buddhists themselves have many systems, but they are all just chains of discursive thought. Whoa. Not that they don't study logic, they're masters of it. But he wants to get underneath all that. They are just chains of discursive thought. There is no need for all these innumerable ideas. Life is too short to go through them all. Now is the time to reduce these things to their essence. So the question is, oh yeah, how does one reduce them to their essence? Nachung Tumpa of Shang asked. You remember him? Used to be on Broadway. No. By training in bodhicitta with love and compassion for all living creatures throughout space, you make it large. Not just people you see, you meet. Wherever there's space, there are beings. Different shapes, forms. They all have a sense of self. They all want happiness, blah, blah. I don't want to suffer. So you consider that in the equation that you put. You can't see them. But we're taking the word of the smarter people. But you should think that way. By making strenuous efforts in the two accumulations, merit and wisdom, for the benefit of those beings, by dedicating all the sources of future good thus created to the perfect enlightenment of each and every being, and finally, by recognizing that all things are empty by nature like dreams or magical illusions, don't make them solid things. They're coming in from causes and conditions, they're momentary, they're changing form. Everything is in flux. Don't freeze it. That's the worst thing you can do. And you know that yourself. So when troubled times come, who's that? Shut him up. Throw that guy out. Sounds like a mouse. So, they're empty by nature, the highest type of compassion, seeing beings empty by nature and they don't realize it and they're suffering. I don't believe it. An arhat looks at people, a bodhisattva with direct realization of emptiness sees people that way. Compassion's even stronger. There's no need for them to suffer. What are they doing? When a teacher came to Tibet, if you do not know how to reduce any practice to its essence, no amount of information, knowledge, and intellectual understanding will be of any use to you at all. You got to get to the bottom of all these words. What do they really mean? And what does it mean when it lands internally in my mind? Everything is what's going on in here. When Atisha came to Tibet, he was invited to visit the great translator Rinchen Zangpo, the precious Zangpo. He questioned the translator about which teachings he knew, naming a long list, one after the other. It turned out that there were none that Rinchen Zangpo did not know. Our teacher was extremely pleased. He gave him a mark, a good mark. Wonderful, he said. The fact that someone as learned as yourself already lives in Tibet means my visit is quite superfluous. And how do you combine all these teachings when you sit down to practice? I practice each one as it is explained in its own text, said Rinchen Zangpo. Rotten translator, cried Atisha in disappointment. What? Then my coming to Tibet is necessary after all. You don't know what you're talking about. I caught you. But what should I do instead, said the translator. You should find the essential point common to all the teachings and practice that way, Atisha told him. It is indispensable to seek the vital point of the practice based on the teacher's pith instructions, seed-type instructions, essence instructions. Once you know the essential point, you must put it into practice or it will be utterly useless. Jetson Miller said, the hungry are not satisfied by hearing about food. What they need is to eat. In the same way, just to know about Dharma is useless. It has to be practiced. That's a simple way of understanding it. What time is it? Okay, what I asked, we have 11 minutes. The purpose of practice to be an antidote for negative emotions and ego clinging, Jetson Miller said again. It is said that you can tell whether someone has just eaten by how red his face is. Because he ate a lot of meat in Tibet. Similarly, you can tell whether people know and practice the Dharma by whether it works as a remedy for their negative emotions and ego clinging. That's the true barometer. So again, you go to Buddha to get rid of all this baggage that we're carrying around, to get rid of our suffering and to get rid of our ignorance. Ignorance causes suffering. So you think of it that way rather than some height you have to scale and some degree I got to get. It should be very pleasant. I'm on my way to getting rid of all this crap. I'm going to the doctor who really knows how to teach and practice, who can cure me. Patawa asked Geshe Tonpa, what was the dividing line between Dharma and non-Dharma? The Geshe. These are the mind training people, by the way. These are the Kadampas that are talking. that you seem fascinated with good reason. If it counteracts negative emotions, it's Dharma. If it doesn't, it is non-Dharma. Hmm? If it doesn't fit with worldly ways, it's Dharma. If it fits, it's non-Dharma. So if it's of the world, forget it. If it fits with the scriptures and your instructions, it is Dharma. If it doesn't fit, it's non-Dharma. And finally, if it leaves a positive imprint, it is Dharma. If it leaves a negative imprint, it is non-Dharma. Very simple, to the point. So, some of the best teaching for our days, the Kadampa teachings, very, what's the word I want? Precise, to the point, frank. You don't need heavy words, intellectual concepts. Boom, boom, boom. And you know it when they spit it out at you. It's visceral. See? Master Chegam said, funny, his name means Chegum, which is what? Analytical meditation, I think? Chegum, Shogum, something like that. To believe in the effects of action is the right view for those of ordinary faculties. Those of, yes, you do this, that happens. Okay. To realize all inner and outer phenomena as the union of both appearance and emptiness, and of awareness and emptiness, is the right view for those of higher faculties, those who have understand emptiness somewhat. To realize that the view that one holds it, and the one who holds it and realization itself are indivisible, is the right view for those of the highest faculties. You and this realization are one thing. You are it. To keep the mind totally concentrated on its object is the correct meditation for those of ordinary faculties. To rest concentrated on the four unions, and four unions, if you look it up, because he always has, I should have marked the footnote page. Never ignore the footnotes. I said this 10,000 times. It was told to me, never ignore the footnotes. Yeah. What one was 170? I should have yellowed it out, right? The union of appearance and emptiness, awareness and emptiness, bliss and emptiness, and clarity and emptiness. Those are the four unions. So again, appearance and emptiness. What we see right now, the wall is also empty. Okay. Awareness and emptiness. The awareness that knows we're knowing things, that's also empty. Okay? Bliss and emptiness. Yay. Not just good feelings, but bliss. They use the word bliss, not just getting your jollies off in the normal world. Bliss and emptiness is a union. And clarity and emptiness. It's not a stupid, you're very precise and clear, I guess. I'm just guessing, I don't know the exact, but those are the four unions. You'll probably see them again as you go reading and going to different classes. So to rest concentrated on the four unions, the right meditation for those of higher faculties, a state of non-conceptuality, non-conceptualization, in which there is no object of meditation, no meditator, and no meditative experience, is the right meditation for those of highest faculties. Yet you know. You can't point to what you're studying. I'm the meditator. This is the experience. Yet you know. You're not blanked out like someone put you to sleep with a sedative. No. That's unusual. That's awareness work. And that's knowing, and that has no bounds, that kind of knowledge. Past, present, this, that, all out the window. You are it. So, very important. The progressive diminution of ego clinging, negative emotions, and thoughts is the sign of warmth for all practitioners, be they of ordinary, higher, or highest faculties. Drod is warmth. I think that's the stage of warmth and concentration. One of the paths. Let's see what he says. The gloss. They have this book is excellent. You have it now. Drod, the Tibetan word drod. See, hope I'm not boring you too much. Yeah. Doesn't have it here. They probably have the English translation of whatever it is. He said it's warmth. To look up warmth. But these guys, warmth, sign of Drodtag, a sign that the practice is beginning to work. When a fire produces heat, it means that it has started properly. This expression does not particularly refer to an experience of physical heat. In other words, you're on your way. You're getting warmer now. Okay, now we got it. So that's simple. Why do they make a big deal? Get out of here. Hey. Similar words are to be found in the precious supreme path by the peerless Dogpo. When studying Dharma, therefore, you should know how to get at the essence of it. The great Longchenpa says, knowledge is as infinite as the stars in the sky. There is no end to all the subjects one could study. It is better to grasp straight away at their very essence, the unchanging fortress of the Dharmakaya. The Dharmakaya is where the Buddha lives. The mind of the Buddha is the Dharmakaya. Dharma body, whatever. So it's everything there. So we could end with that quote. That's good. Well, a little bit more. Padampa Sangha, another of our friends, seek the teacher's instruction like a mother falcon seeking her prey. Ooh, should be aggressive again. Listen to the teachings like a deer listening to music. There's a deer disco on our block. Did you know that, Darren? Meditate on, well, deers are usually lured by a flute. They like the sound, and then they kill them. That's what they did in the old days. So deer listens to music, they're captivated. So you should meditate, listen to teachings like a deer captivated by music. Meditate on them like a dumb person savoring food. An idiot eating sugar, sometimes it would say. There's a unity of the experience. Contemplating them like the northern nomad shearing sheep. Of course. Hey. Reach their result like the sun coming out from behind the clouds. Okay, we got all these folksy ways. So anyway, next week, next Monday, most likely Nikki will be teaching, probably secular, or I don't know what, but he's had a rough time of it, so hope he gets here, relaxes, and is happy. Is all we got. So, any names for Sutra, the Recollection of Three Jewels?
Bernard Lafayette.
Bernard Lafayette? Street name that. He's famous. Oh, I didn't? No. Or anyone else you wish to pray? Well, the mass of people killed in various high-grade weapons that cost billions. Stupid. You want stupidity? There it is. I prostrate to the omniscient one. Thus the Buddha Bhagavat, Tathagata, Arahat, Samyak Sang Buddha, the learned and virtuous one, the Sugata, the knower of the world, the charioteer and tamer of beings, the unsurpassable one, the teacher of devas and humans is the Buddha Bhagavat. The Tathagata is in accord with all merit. He does not waste the roots of virtue. He is completely ornamented with all patience. He is the basis of the treasures of merit. He is adorned with the minor marks. He blossoms with the flowers of the major marks. His activity is timely and appropriate. Seeing him, he is without disharmony. True joy to those who long with faith. His knowledge cannot be overpowered. His strength cannot be challenged. He is the teacher of all sentient beings. He is the father of bodhisattvas. He is the king of noble ones. He is the guide of those who journey to the city of nirvana. He possesses immeasurable wisdom. He possesses inconceivable confidence. His speech is completely pure. His melody is pleasing. One never has enough of seeing him. His form is incomparable. He's not stained by the realm of desire. He's not stained by the realm of form. He's not affected by the formless realm. He is completely liberated from suffering. He is completely and utterly liberated from the skandhas. He is not possessed with dhatus. His ayatanas are controlled. He has completely cut the knots. He is completely liberated from extreme torment. He is liberated from craving. He has crossed over the river. He is perfected in all the wisdoms. He abides in the wisdom of the Buddha Bhagavats, who rise in the past, present, and future. He does not abide in nirvana. He abides in the ultimate perfection. He dwells on the bhumi where he sees all sentient beings. All these are the perfect virtues of the greatness of the Buddha Bhagavat. The holy Dharma is good at the beginning, good in the middle, good at the end. Its meaning is excellent. Its words are excellent. It is uncorrupted. It is completely perfect and completely pure. It completely purifies. The Bhagavad teaches the Dharma well. It brings complete vision. It is free from sickness. It is always timely. It directs one further. Seeing it fulfills one's purpose. It brings discriminating insight for the wise. The Dharma, which is taught by the Bhagavad, is revealed properly in the Vinaya. It is renunciation. It causes one to arrive at perfect enlightenment. It is without contradiction. It is pithy. It is trustworthy and puts an end to the journey. As for the Sangha of the great Jnana, they enter completely, they enter insightfully, they enter straightforwardly, they enter harmoniously. They are worthy of veneration with joined palms. They are worthy of receiving prostration. They are a field of glorious merit. They are completely capable of receiving all gifts. They are an object of generosity. They are a great object of complete generosity. The protector who possesses great kindness, the omniscient teacher, the basis of oceans of merit and virtue, I prostrate to the Tathagata. Pure, the cause of freedom from passion. Virtuous, liberating from the lower realms. This alone is the supreme ultimate truth. I prostrate to the Dharma, which is peace. Having been liberated, they show the path to liberation. They are fully dedicated to the disciplines. They are a holy field of merit and possess virtue. I prostrate to the Sangha. I prostrate to the Buddha, the leader. I prostrate to the Dharma, the protector. I prostrate to the Sangha, the community. I prostrate respectfully and always to these three. The Buddha's virtues are inconceivable. The Dharma's virtues are inconceivable. The Sangha's virtues are inconceivable. Having faith in these inconceivables, therefore the fruitions are inconceivable. May they be born in a completely pure realm. 8 verses for training the mind, another of the Kadampa crowd. With the determination to accomplish the highest welfare of all sentient beings, who surpass even a wish-granting jewel, I will learn to hold them supremely dear. Whenever I associate with others, I will learn to think of myself as the lowest amongst all, and respectfully hold others to be supreme from the very depths of my heart. In all actions, I will learn to search into my mind, and as soon as a disturbing emotion arises, endangering myself and others, I will firmly face and avert it. I will learn to cherish ill-natured beings and those oppressed by strong misdeeds and sufferings, as if I had found a precious treasure difficult to find. When others out of jealousy treat me badly, with abuse, slander, and so on, I will learn to take all loss and offer the victory to them. When the one whom I have benefited with great hope unreasonably hurts me very badly, I will learn to view that person as an excellent spiritual guide. In short, I will learn to offer to everyone without exception all help and happiness directly and indirectly, and respectfully take upon myself all harm and suffering of my mothers. I will learn to keep these practices undefiled by the stains of the 8 worldly concerns, and by understanding all phenomena as like illusions, be released from the bondage of attachment. Prayer for the swift return of Rato Chungla Rinpoche, written by His Holiness. Exalted wisdom of all victors gathered in a drop, sole refuge manifest in the form of the one wearing saffron robes. Lozang Tubuang Dorje Chang, please bear witness here today that our prayers may be fulfilled. We beseech the great torch of doctrine, accomplishing from long ago the vast waves of aspirational prayers, Lord of speech of the Victor Losang's teachings, spreading them to the ends of the earth by means of explanation and practice, while holding the commitment I will invite all beings to be my guest in unsurpassed great awakening. Yet you have withdrawn the activities of the form body that serves the welfare of others. Is that worthy of the supreme among beings, the Bodhisattvas? Though impossible for you till cyclic existence's end, to abandon your commitment to liberate all beings, we beseech the new son of Nirmanakaya to swiftly return from the realm of Dharmakaya, brought forth by Bodhicitta, drawn by 7 steeds. Having reached the far limits of scholarship, religious life, and goodness, please come swiftly as an unrivaled supreme emanation, full holder of the sage's teachings and wish-fulfilling joy, return at the glory of Rajan Tempe. Magnificent truth of the 3 precious jewels, Mahakala, Karmayama, and Sri Mata Devi, and the ocean of Dharma protectors, may you spontaneously fulfill our wish, the swift blossoming of the reincarnation's fresh moonlight face. So this concludes tonight's presentation. The next Dharma presentation, 2 nights from tonight, Wednesday night at the parsonage in South Orange. The instructions on how to get there are on our website. This Saturday at 1 o'clock, we have the bi-weekly White Tara Sadhana at 1 o'clock, a brief 40-minute session, and then we have a delicious smorgasbord lunch, vegetarian, non-vegetarian, whatever. Leon's famous pancakes will be there. Maybe, we don't know, because everything is impermanent. So, and then next month, and that's it. Thank you very much for your patient listening. Big love to all of you. Thank you. Merci, Patro. Zapatro. I wonder where he is today.